Hello, today we'll be showing you how to make a custom grip tape design. This is the one that I made. First off, we'll need an X-Acto knife, a Sharpie, a pair of scissors, grip tape, paper, a longboard, a blow dryer, and a scrap piece of wood for cutting out your design with your X-Acto knife. The first step is to get rid of the existing grip. If you have a loaded longboard, then you'll need to sand it off. However, if you have the traditional kind of grip tape, the black kind, then you can use an X-Acto knife to scrape off the grip tape, or you can use a blow dryer if you're having trouble. If using a blow dryer, you want to focus the hot or warm air coming from it at the edge of the grip tape. Slowly, it should start peeling up, in which case you can grab and then peel the rest off. If you're sanding down the spray-on grip on one of your loaded boards, you're going to want to start with a coarser sandpaper, something like 40 to 60 grit. Then you want to slowly move to a medium type sandpaper, which is in between 80 and 120 grit. However, before sanding down your board, you should decide which of the two methods you will use. The first method is faster, however the end product does not look as good. The second method uses a sealer, which gives the longboard a nice finish. In the first method, you want to sand the board down until it's smooth to your hand. Be sure not to over sand, otherwise you'll break through the waterproof sealing. You could even sand right through the first layer of wood, which is about 2 millimeters thick. Breaking through the waterproof sealing is especially a problem because it could cause rot later on. This waterproof sealing is clear, so when you start seeing clear spots on your longboard, try to avoid those areas. Second method, you want to sand right through the clear coating. You should start to sand the first layer of wood, but do not go any further than this. Once you have uniformly sanded off this waterproof coating, you can then proceed to spray it with a polyurethane coating. This spray will waterproof your board and prevent rot, as well as giving your board a nice finish. Step 3 of the re-gripping process is to trace the outline of your board onto your grip tape. Once you've done this, you can trace or draw shapes or designs that you want to put on the grip of your longboard. However, do not cut out this outline of your longboard. This outline gives you a chance to see how your designs will look on the shape of the board. Once you've done this, you can start thinking about the actual designs that your longboard will have on it. Remember to keep it simple because you have to cut it out with an X-Acto knife or scissors, and it's pretty tough to cut the grip tape. You can draw it freehand or use a stencil. What I did is I printed out a picture from the internet, cut it out, and then used it to trace my image onto the back of the grip tape. If you have letters or words, make sure that you flip it upside down before tracing it. That way it appears right side up when you put them on your board. Also, when making your design for the grip tape, you want to make sure that none of the sections are larger than 10 inches, because otherwise they will affect the flex of the board. This is especially important because loaded boards are well known for their flex. The loaded spray grip doesn't really affect the flex, which is probably a main reason why they use it in the first place. Another thing to take into consideration while designing a grip tape is the surface area, because if it's not large enough, you won't have enough traction. Without enough traction, your grip tape is essentially useless. If putting grip tape on the tails of your board, you want to make sure to leave about a centimeter of extra length from the edge of it. The reason this is because I found that when I put it right up against the edge, it ended up just coming off the first time I used it. Another thing you may want to consider is putting grip tape on the top of your trucks. This will allow you to have grip all across your board and not have any slippery spots. Part 4 of the re-gripping process is to rub down your board with rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. This is the precursor to adhering your grip tape pieces to your longboard and gets rid of any unwanted particles which may mess with the adhesive. A reason that we use rubbing alcohol instead of water is that if you happen to break through the waterproof sealing on your longboard, if it gets absorbed into the board, it will evaporate very quickly and will not cause any rot or water damage that water would cause. Step 5 in regripping your longboard is the most time-consuming part, and this would be cutting out what you've traced on the back of your grip tape. I used an X-Acto knife. You could also use scissors, but it might ruin them. It might make them dull. The X-Acto knife is sort of better for like really detailed fine work, whereas the scissors is good for like large, unspecific work. While cutting out your pieces, you want to lay them out on your board as if you were placing them, but do not take off the adhesive. This will give you an idea of what your board looks like, and will also show you if you have any bald spots, or places where you don't have any grip tape and you should. Be careful not to cut yourself, and also go slowly, otherwise you might mess up. Keep at it, and in no time you'll be ready for step 6. Step 6 is the most stressful part because you can't really mess up. After laying out your grip tape design, you're going to want to peel off the back. This will uncover an adhesive which you can place on the board. But do this carefully, as once you put it down you won't be able to take it off very easily. What I like to do when placing my grip tape down is taking a piece of paper and putting it on top before pushing down. Since the paper has less friction, it's easier to spread out the pressure and more effectively put the grip tape down. So once you're done placing your grip tape in the desired locations, you can take a blow dryer and heat up the grip tape. What this is going to do is actually melt and heat up the adhesive and sort of make it bind to the board a little bit better. However, you want to be careful that you don't overdo it, because a method of taking off the grip tape is to use a blow dryer, so you might end up doing more harm than you are doing good. Now let the adhesive cool and dry for a few minutes. The final step in regripping your longboard is to cut off the excess grip tape. Do this by flipping over your board and then taking an X-Acto knife and following the outline of the board. This will keep the grip tape on longer, and it'll make it look better as well. And finally, you have the finished product, a beautiful looking grip tape.